Now what we're going to move on to is a very interesting part of today's presentation is creating a path for UX and UI career. Now, when we say career, we don't mean just how to get your first job, but also how to prepare for all those things, how to really add value to yourself, and just make sure you're the best candidate for every situation. So what I'm going to do is, in this, Sonia is going to help me out quite a bit here. Sonia, what we're going to do is we're going to begin from like the absolute, okay, no, this person knows nothing about UX and UI. He just heard about it, or he somebody showed it to him, and now he's just going to, try and enter this field and discover it. So we're just gonna kind of take it from there, because I'm sure a lot of people might look at it from a very beginner's, just like every other cliche designer, I am going to make this into an auto layout so that it looks clean. Okay, so he knows nothing about UX. Sonia, what should he do at this stage of knowing nothing about UX?
So if a person is new to this domain, then it's the best way to start your career is by understanding what UX is, studying UX. You can join some schools like we have design wings, join some boot camps, enroll yourself. Okay, so you will get some kind of good hands-on experience as well when you build your portfolios.
What I did personally when I was starting as a self-taught designer as well. A lot of you guys might want to kind of start as a self-taught journey before you can even commit to a degree or a certificate or whatever. I think at that stage also what you guys can do is just give yourself one weekend. This is what I did. Just give yourself one weekend, go through as many free courses, free videos, as much free content that you can consume. There's a lot of free courses on Udemy, Udacity, whatnot, you name it. There'll be a ton of them out there. But just I think just see fundamentals of UX design or UI design, whatever the title is. But fundamentals of UX design, if you are able to understand the fundamentals in a weekend, just go through an overview of the entire field, what is done, what is not, what are the expertise and specialities, what it consists of, the process. Just go through that, just an overview of it. That will also help you understand whether you can be passionate about something like that or not. Sonia, I've just seen a lot of people get into it because there's money in it, or there's it's something new and there's more demand, less people to kind of suffice it or whatever. But if you truly want to generate, as Sonia also stated earlier, it's passionate about it. If you truly want to generate a passion, start by just understanding whether it's even meant for you or not. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already been through this step, but if you're just beginning, fundamentals of UX design, if you type anywhere on any website, you'll get a bunch of courses around it. Yeah.
And definitely you can attend some meetups which are free of cost.
Oh yeah.
You can build some networking.
Oh yeah. This is a nice, good first step, attend meetups or join, like you've joined here or joined communities, I think joining community can also kind of help you, because a lot of people just like you might be there as well. There are a bunch of communities on Discord, etc. Just search for UX communities on Discord or Reddit or wherever you can find, and you'll be able to see some results on Google for sure. So attend meetups or join communities could be a nice first step, because then the kind of people that you might be working with, or they can also kind of give you a nice perspective on starting it.
Most of the students I have seen, or most of the people, they really understand the difference between UX and UI, right?
Yeah.
So it's always good to choose the career path. Maybe you can, if you have passion of UX and UI both, you can join any organization as a hybrid resource.
Yeah.
But if you want to focus only on UX, there also you have many options open for you, right? So just think from that perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even before you join a cohort course, maybe try and understand the various niches that are available for you, and the what kind of tasks you need to or roles you need to play in companies. So that will give you a nice perspective of, okay, if I'm a UX researcher, I need to focus on these things more, or I need to learn about more of these things in this area. If you're a UI designer, you will focus a lot on UIs and visuals, and a little bit on testing. But if you're a UX researcher, some UX researchers I know nothing about. They don't even know about Figma. They're like so old school that they didn't even get onto Figma at an early stage. So I'm talking about 2-3 years ago. They're like psychology graduates.
So these schools really help you to connect the dots, like
Yeah.
how you will start the design process. What are the initial steps? Okay, you take when you do the user research. So that's the benefit of this.
Yeah. So, yeah, whatever kind of course, degree, whatever you guys want to take. But a very important thing in this position of your career is to connect the dots anyhow. Even if you're self-taught, whatever. If you can connect the dots yourself, great. If you can't, join something. I think that'll be a better thing. But connecting the dots is also important, not just from a technical point of view, as Sonia stated, the design process through and through and you understand it. But you also, are preparing yourself for your first job or gig as well. Because when you join an organization, they expect you to know the process well, be it a junior role or an intern role. If you know the process well, everything will be smoother. So make sure you know the process well as you know how the corporate environment can work. So always, before joining your first job or first opportunity, get in touch with somebody who's been in that position. Could be a senior UX designer who started from a junior position, or anybody who is a UX designer would be able to tell their experiences from a first job perspective. So anybody or can get in touch with, kind of take their help to kind of connect the dots on how things will work in the organization, or what are the kind of practical processes that they might be taking up. If they are taking up things like sprints, you should know about sprints and how to tackle sprints and how to be a part of sprints. So you need to kind of understand these things before getting into it, so that you're not confused when you're getting your first job or gig. But Sonia, what would you say, once they have when they're, preparing for a job interview, or when they're like getting into their first job or trying to find their first job, what do you think the steps should be from their end?
Yeah, so I always recommend my students and people to understand, as I mentioned, the process first, and should be able to speak about different jargons, different terminologies which we use in the industry, UX UI domain specifically. So get the clarity before appearing for any interview. So let's say what is one-on-one interview.
Yeah.
This is another name of one-on-one interview is contextual inquiry.
Yeah.
So some understanding the jargons is really important. So the process, but you are not aware of the jargon.
Yeah.
So right, and you should be able to explain your design process accurately. Sometimes you have done research properly, but you are not able to communicate to your interviewer. That confidence, that communication should be there. So that's, I think, most important.
Yeah. So for guys, in UX, a lot of things can be subjective. The way you do things can be subjective. So when we generally say your design process, we know there are certain design processes, but even those design processes come from some set of people who built that process, or who said this is a good process. But if you don't want to experiment with the design process, which you should, because if you have a unique perspective, you can explain. But you should always kind of look at the design process, as Sonia also earlier said, it's quite flexible. Everything is very flexible. It's subjective. So if you have your inputs in the design process, if you think doing this is a waste of time, and doing this is a good thing to do, make sure you make changes and kind of explain your process and how you like to do things better. If you can make something work better or get better results, people would love to hear about it. So I think in case of if they are preparing for their first interview or whatever, their first job, I think another thing that they could kind of look into, a lot of designers don't have this, I wish they would, just good communication and presentation skills. When you're getting into your first job or whatever, this is something that a lot of designers have missing, is they can't present what they've created or what they're working on. And that kind of hinders, and they kind of get a shock. Oh, we need to create presentations also for this. So yeah, you'll have to create a bunch of presentations. Every designer has to learn presentations, making presentations, presenting stuff, taking feedback. Just presentation kind of covers everything. Even feedback is a part of presenting something, but taking feedback, how to take feedback well, or if there is an argument, how to kind of tackle that situation. So just knowing these little things can help you transition into your first job, because then okay, this, apart from my design skills, there's this additional stuff that is also needed. How would you suggest, designers, they might get to a certain level over the years, but how do they really progress once they've gotten their first job?
Right. Okay. So as you mentioned, if you are already into your first job and you have joined as a UX junior UX designer, okay. So there are different levels. So we also called practitioner, then senior practitioner.
Yeah.
Right. Then we, after that we become associate manager, UX manager, senior UX manager, right? So so first of all, you have to decide in the beginning. Of course, you start with as an individual contributor in a technical role.
Yeah.
Then you have other opportunities. If you are passionate about management role, you love to manage multiple projects, from UI UX perspective. Yeah, you love to manage people. So then other career options, are also open for you. So, but career definitely starts as an individual contributor, designing wireframes, solving problems, and then you move towards, leading role. Yeah.
This is a very interesting thing you've told the audience today, is difference between individual contributor and someone who manages stuff. So I think people can kind of look at that from that. It's a kind of different perspective to look at from for the designers, for surely. Yeah, so I guess you start off as someone who just tackles problems heads on with either a team or individually, and then if you are, as Sonia stated, you should know the different positions that are available to you, and know whether the roles they come with, or the tasks and problems they kind of come with, you are the kind of person who would like to get into that. You're passionate about doing that. As she stated, if you're a manager or a lead, you should be able to kind of manage people now, along with the UX work as well. You might be doing less UX work now and managing people and tasks and deadlines more than anybody else. So you should be passionate about those things. It doesn't matter if you're in the organization for 5 years, 10 years. There are designers who remain UX designers or just get to senior UX designer, and that's their position for years to come. But that could be just because they weren't passionate about managing other people. They don't want to get into that role. How do you approach now, Sonia? Like if you're ready for a role, how do you approach that seniority?
So it's actually a trend. You have to perform one step before you get that position, right? So if you're working as a senior designer, senior UX designer, and you want to become design lead, right? You start taking initiative. Then you are a senior practitioner, right? So try to work closely with your teams, help your teams to understand the users better, participate in user research and testing sessions. Yeah. So show that yes, you are passionate about helping others. So work very closely with the junior designers in your team. If you are a senior designer, you must help your junior designers in your team, right? That's the first step. So yeah, then you can become design lead in your organization, and then slowly you can become creative director, UX manager. Here,
financially, a lot of designers talk about a lot of stuff. There's a lot. Like there is, finance is subjective. Not every UX manager or UX lead earns the same in every organization or in general. In our country, systems depend. A lot of countries, I think there's a system. You can't just jump from 10 lakh a year to 30 lakhs a year just like that, unless there's a company offering you that. Most HRs will kind of kill you for that. So what would you suggest, Sonia, is a good way to move up financially in one organization or multiple organizations, whatever the situation is?
That's very
It's a tricky
difficult
question.
question.
Yeah. Because it's very
I know,
subjective, I guess.
right. So we all are putting these efforts for money. Yeah,
Yeah, of
no one.
course.
We don't love to do charity, right?
Yeah.
We don't love that.
Yeah.
We love to earn money, right? So our basically what we want to learn and earn as well. So if you want to get, I would say, good package, so once you have that experience and knowledge, yeah, once you are comfortable with in this domain, you can easily switch job. You can also work with companies like Microsoft,
Yeah.
Google, which are your dream companies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But first step is definitely knowledge and experience,
Okay.
right? Um, and if you see that this is the right time, if you look at the trend now, because now fortunately corona is over, almost
Yeah.
over, and this is right time to join the or to get the promotion in your domain, right?
Yeah.
If you're working as a junior designer, you start applying for senior designer role, maybe UX researcher. Yeah, so definitely you will get some good hike. You can also do some freelancing stuff if you are interested too, if you want extra income, that's also there.
One thing I want to kind of share at this stage when people are thinking of earning more money, I think, is making the right friends. So I was friends with all the really good friends with some directors and people like that in most organizations. Just
Right. And you, another very good point came in my mind.
Yeah.
So if you're already working in an organization, talk to your line manager. Yeah. Show them that yes, you definitely need a raise, or you want to you need promotion, you want to grow in your career. Every organization has the career development plan.
yeah.
Yeah. So create that development plan, work very closely with your line managers.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, true. Like a lot of them can kind of help you get under their wing and kind of grow with them. A lot of designers don't take that initiative. Like they're just sitting and doing their work diligently as they're told.
Right.
But if you really want to like get up the ladder or get up the money ladder, whatever it is, just I think talking to people and just being there at the right time is the best thing to do.